Good afternoon, Louisiana, and welcome to Bayou Bets for Monday, May the 16th. Zach Ewing here along with Jim Derry, and it's kind of like it's a breather day in sports. We had a big weekend. There were like 7 Game 7s between the NBA and the NHL this weekend, and then we've got coming up next weekend, we've got, of course, NBA Conference Finals. We've got the PGA Championship, which we're going to talk a bunch about today. We've also got the Preakness coming up on Saturday, so let's all take a breath together and talk some sports and some sports betting, Jim.
My breath involves a huge sigh, as yesterday was one awful betting day. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I did not appreciate seeing the Suns knocked out. Neither did my bank account. Although it's somehow easier to swallow when the team that you picked or whatever just gets boat raced like that. Like they're down by 30 at the half. I mean, number one, you can just turn it off. Like it's making you angry, just turn it off.
Here's what I don't get. I don't understand why Pelicans fans are. I'm like all over social media. They hate the Suns so much. They hate Chris Paul so much. They're all a bunch of jerks. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. Why do they hate the Suns so much? If it had played the Mavs in the first round, they'd have been hating the Mavs. I mean, just get over it. I mean, get over yourself.
Luka's not the most likable guy in the world either. I mean, he's a great player. I love to watch him. Yeah. But he's kind of he starts stuff too. So
I'm bitter. Golf was bad to me. Not Justin Thomas. Jordan Spieth with his little choke job 3-putt from 8 feet again cost me big money. At least a shot at the playoff. Golf is just brutalizing me. But we're going to talk a lot about golf later today.
We are here on Bayou Bets, and we are brought to you by the Tulane Doctors, and we also are brought to you by Caesar Sportsbook. We can give you a special offer as well for new users. Go to NOLA.com/Caesars. Your first bet is insured up to $1,100. So, if you lose like Jim Derry did on Sunday, you get your money back. That'd be nice, huh?
I'd be glad to take any of it back. I did win in poker last night, so that kind of like evened out, I guess. But the only thing missing from this show is since Uncle Big Nick's in the waiting room about to come on, which is gonna be tough for local sports fans to swallow. He's not in the comment stream commenting, so it's a little weird.
That's okay. That's all right. So this is Bayou Bets. We're brought to you by Tulane Doctors, innovative research, inspired patient care. Visit TulaneDoctors.com. And I'm just saying, I don't know what the Suns were doing. I was just saying that too last night. What are you doing? What are you guys
27
doing?
Points into the third quarter?
They couldn't make a shot. They could not make a shot.
Was Devin Booker like 0 for 98?
Yeah, I mean, it was really bad. And by the way, Devin Booker talking crap all week after the Suns go up 2-0 and the Luka special this and the Mavs do that. And like, man, don't run your mouth and then play like that. Like, you got to back it up if you're going to run your mouth like that.
Why don't they just run their mouths after the series is over? I never
understood win, and then you run your mouth. Exactly. And I think Luka did it right. I think the Suns blew him out in Game 5, and there was a camera on Luka, and it's making the rounds on social media. The Suns are walking into the tunnel, and Luka says something like, "It's real easy to gloat when you're up a game." Like let's see who's and fair play. Look, I mean, he killed them in Game 6 and Game 7, and there you have it. There you have it. So
the Mavs backed it up. The Celtics backed it up. It was. Look, we had our group text about how bad Game 7s were, and maybe there were some disappointments. But I've actually enjoyed this NBA playoffs. I will say this, and I think it's because the job that I'm in now, I have to watch them, but I haven't really watched NBA playoffs in a while. They've turned me off, and I think that it's not just because of the job. I've really been into it this year. I've enjoyed it more than I've enjoyed it. Maybe it's a little bit COVID and all that stuff too, and the weird sports world we've had the last 2 years. But I think the NBA playoffs have been fun thus far. I've enjoyed them. I've looked forward to watching them every night. I'm looking forward to watching what the rest of the series hold. It's not the teams that I want, not just because my bets. I can't get thrilled about Golden State and Dallas. Can't get thrilled about Boston and Miami, but I'll still be watching anyway. And it makes for some interesting betting props.
Yeah, I think part of that, Jim, is just that it's wide open. I mean, I don't think we'll show the futures odds in a minute. Here's the conference finals prices. This is your final four. Celtics are actually road favorites. They do not have home court in this series to start with, but they are minus 175 favorites. The Warriors minus 250. This was minus 280 last night, by the way. I put something on the Mavs plus 230, and it's down to plus 200. Listen. I know Golden State's got the pedigree. 3 championships, flags fly forever. I get that. I haven't been that impressed with them so far. I don't think the Warriors can beat the Mavericks.
They're too inconsistent. They just you don't know what you're going to get every game is the problem with the Warriors. There's certainly zero value there. You cannot bet the Warriors. And honestly, I know how much I don't get all the disrespect of the Heat. I mean, they're the top seed and they're at plus 155. I think there's value there as well. So if you want to bet anything, I think you have to bet the 2 underdogs here. But personally, I'm pretty much done with betting NBA futures. I think it'll be a game by game thing for me and have to look at it. But I think Miami's going to give Boston quite the series. And I got to favor the Warriors, but yeah, if you're going to bet it, bet the Mavs. But I don't know. I know they're inconsistent, but the Warriors' best plan happened when the Suns lost because I don't think they could have beat the Suns. I mean, no, I think so they should be. They would have been favored. So I think they would have been great value on the Suns. I think they would have been favored anyway. But now who knows? Yeah,
but I just don't. I look at the Warriors and I don't think they play great defense anymore outside of Draymond Green. And Draymond's going to have to be on Luka 40 minutes a game. I mean, he would be exhausted after 3 or 4 games of this. Or in foul trouble. Like, I just think because nobody else can play defense. So then who guards Jalen Brunson? Klay Thompson is not the same defensive player he used to be pre-Achilles. Steph Curry has always been a little bit of a defensive liability. Obviously, you still want him on the court. But the Warriors are just going to have to shoot the Jesus out of the ball to win that series. And maybe they will. But I'm going to take my plus 230. And then we all know I've been on the Celtics since January, February. And they had a big scare in that round. But if you look at that series against the Bucks, they really were in control of 6 of the 7 games. 2 of them they lost at the end. But outside of game 1, they controlled those games start to finish. Now, they're in a tough spot tomorrow. I will say that. They're in a tough spot because they only get, little more than 48 hours rest, and they're traveling, whereas the Heat have been off all weekend, didn't have as difficult of a series. And so they're in a tough spot in game 1. Here are your futures odds for the NBA playoffs. And, again, after last night's game, Dallas was plus 750. That price is already shortened to 650. The interesting ththing here, too, is that the Celtics, they don't have home court in either series. At least I think it goes by record, not by seed.
It goes by,
right?
I think it goes by seed first.
Because the Celtics are the 2 seed in the East, but they won only 51 games. Dallas actually won 52 games.
The East team is going to be the home. Is going to have the home.
They
advantage.
are. Okay, so it is by seed. Okay, so they would. I was because they had a worse record than those 2 teams, but because the Warriors are the 3 seed in the West, to me that makes that Warriors bet. I wouldn't touch plus 135 for Golden State in 100 years.
Neither would I.
There's no way.
No, but people will, and I actually like the Heat at plus 430. I don't necessarily think they're going to win. But I like those odds, that number. To me, that's the best number on the board is the Heat at plus 430. Again, I don't necessarily think they're going to win the title. I think they're going to have a long, extended series with the Celtics. I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be a much better series than people think. And I agree with you about game 1. And the Celtics, we've seen them. You talked about it. They have blown games that they had no business blow. I don't think that's going to change. I think it's going to be the same thing here. And I just think Eric Spoelstra is a fantastic coach, and he does things with that team that they probably didn't have business doing.
Yeah, Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler, who's really a coach on the court, those guys will steal a game. And I think it will go at least six games. And then if it gets to 7, of course, Miami is at home. And that's a big advantage. At least we thought it was before last night. One more thought on the NBA before we're going to spend most of this show on the PGA Championship, but put up some NBA Finals MVP odds as well. And this is pretty clearly like if this team is going to win, you can pick their best player to have to win the MVP at slightly higher odds. Except notably, Luka is the exact same odds. I mean, look, if the Mavs win, unless Luka somehow gets hurt and they still win, he's going to be the MVP.
I'll tell you what might be a good bet. If you like the Warriors to win it all, I mean, you might want to put something on Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole, because I don't think it's certainly not a slam dunk at Steph Curry. He's been very inconsistent in these playoffs. And the way Klay Thompson played in Game 6, I mean, he easily could have quite a run, and I like those numbers. I mean, I might put a little something on that.
I like where your head's at on Thompson and especially on Jordan Poole, because now Draymond, I wouldn't do Draymond because he's like when he's at his best, he scores like 8 points a game and he's got 10 assists, and then he locks down your best player, and he's extremely valuable, but not MVP. But Jordan Poole, what if the Warriors played 11 games in the playoffs? He's probably been their best player in half of those games. I mean,
at 30-1, sign me up.
Yeah, that's not a bad thought. And if the Warriors do win, you've at least got a chance there. So it's interesting. The NBA playoffs resume tomorrow night. The Eastern Conference gets going. I think it's at 7:30. Celtics at Heat. And then on Wednesday night at 8, it is Mavericks at Warriors game 1. So
before we get to golf, are we going to talk about the elephant in the room from yesterday? What my friends were talking about in the NFL Saints world?
You're going to have to enlighten. Oh, about Drew Brees?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll spend a minute on Drew. Uncle Big Nick's waiting, but we'll get what?
Oh, he'll be glad to chime in on this.
Does this mean anything at all, Jim? Okay, here's Uncle Big Nick. You can respond to this too.
Okay, I'm going to speak to this part as a fan, because I don't let my fandom come out very often on shows, but the fandom, it has to be addressed in this part, and it comes down to 4 words. Oh God, please no. I mean, you got to be kidding. And I mean, I had somebody poke last night. Oh, look, Drew might be coming back. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's from
people took that tweet seriously.
Yeah, they really took it seriously. They took it seriously. And then I went and actually read the tweet. I'm like, he said he could be a pro pickleball player too.
Hey, Kyle Sloter's not playing well, man. The Breakers need a quarterback.
I think as bad as Drew Brees would be right now, he might be better than Kyle Sloter, maybe.
Yeah, listen. Drew Brees at age 60 would tear apart a USFL defense. That I believe. That I believe. But you don't sign Jameis Winston and finally give him the keys after you flirt with Deshaun Watson and you flirt with taking a quarterback in the draft, or at least throw out the smoke screen, and then okay, Jameis, all right. And then Drew Brees, you're not going to do that. I
can't believe this is a discussion. Like, it was totally tongue in cheek.
It is definitely a discussion, because people are all over social media. I can't believe how many Saints fans are actually welcoming the thought. Like, even if it were really possible, which it's not. I mean, there's like 0.22% chance that it would actually happen, because the Saints would have to want the dude back. First of all, the Saints are going to want him back. I mean, you can read through the lines between what Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis said. Thanks, but no thanks. We let you retire. We let you hang on 2 years longer than we should have let you. We passed up Tom Brady because you wanted to stay, and you earned that right. But please go away.
Jarvis and Michael Thomas would have to run 15-yard routes every play.
I
don't know that he can throw it that far.
I don't get it at all. I don't.
Can't believe it's a topic.
I don't. I mean, and here's the elephant in the room within the elephant in the room. Drew Brees was not that good on television. Maybe NBC
he was okay as a color analyst.
He's okay.
He was bad in the studio.
Yeah, but I mean, for the amount NBC was paying him, it was like
he's trying to get that Tom Brady money.
Yeah, that's not to say he couldn't. Stiff. Yeah, that's not to say he couldn't get better, but I am not. Yeah,
look, you look at. I've been in this business for 32 years, so he was the Saints quarterback for basically half of my career, which is incredibly long time, right? But
Yes.
as great, yeah, thanks. As great as he was for this franchise, and as much as he did, no one was ever talking about what wonderful personality. I mean, Drew Brees doesn't have a whole ton of personality.
Nice guy.
I mean, that's
super nice guy.
That's why super nice guy, super nice,
like
great,
totally corporate, right? Like
did
totally
a ton of great. Yeah, he doesn't do a whole lot for cameras and shows and I mean, he was okay as a color analyst, but he wasn't Tony Romo.
And honestly, Brady kind of used to be like that, and now Brady is letting his personality show a lot more.
Yeah, because Belichick ain't over his head saying, don't say this and don't say that. Brady actually can be Brady now.
Man, maybe that's what it is. I don't.
None of them are going to be as good as Romo anyway. Romo choked in games, but he certainly doesn't choke in the booth. That dude knows more about football. It's incredible how he calls plays out. And
one of the funniest tweets I read with Romo was that I wish he'd have used his talent reading defenses when he played quarterback instead of when he's in the booth.
See, I'm a long time Romo defender. I think Romo gets a bad rap. He wasn't an all-time.
I mean, when he was healthy,
he wasn't an all-time great, but he was good. He was an above-average quarterback. Yeah.
The problem is, you remember. I mean, the first thing I think of when Romo is I think of the flubbed hold on the kick in the Seattle playoff game.
Yeah,
that's the first thing I think of, and that happened early in his career, and it's hard to get rid of that. It's hard when you blow a game like that. It's really hard to get rid of that.
There was that, and then there was 2 years later. They had a bye. They were either the number 1 seed or the 2 seed, and the Giants came in with that NASCAR offensive line.
Yeah.
And just abused him. And that game wasn't really his fault. And after that, they didn't have a lot of talent around the guy. I mean, then there was the Dez. It was a catch game. So which you can't really blame Romo for that either. That was a bad call, and he played good in that game. So I think he gets a bad rap. The flub on the field goal, yeah, okay, he screwed up. I mean, but
it's just the thing it's one of the, I agree. It's not fair to him, but you remember that a little bit much, and I mean. I don't know.
Like Brady threw a couple terrible interceptions at Lambeau at the NFC Championship game last year, and it didn't matter.
So got 6 rings.
So you make a mistake in the wrong time, and yeah.
All right,
let's talk.
7.
Yeah, he does have 7. Yeah, 6 with the Patriots. As I say, if he was Jason Pierre-Paul, if he was Jason Pierre-Paul, he would have a ring for every finger.
Wow.
Silence.
Let's
talk some PGA.
Well, I mean, I like it, but I'm just glad. I mean, it sounds like something I would say.
You're watching Bayou Bets.
How many rings does Jimmy G have, by the way?
On NOLA.com.
He has 3 or 2.
Has he been married twice? He does have. Yeah. Okay.
How many games did he play in those rings?
I mean, 0.
Yeah. All right.
Let's
talk some PGA. Uncle Big Nick is here. The PGA Championship starts at Southern Hills in Tulsa on Thursday. The PGA Championship, for those who don't know, it's a great tournament to get started with betting because every big name player is in this thing. Like, this is the biggest field of the year, is it not, Nick?
It's 156, so yeah, it's the biggest major field. It's not like the Masters, where I think they only had a little bit over 100. But I mean, you got 20 players that are past champions that are playing in this thing. John Daly ain't winning it. You know what I mean? So
Phil Mickelson ain't winning it.
No,
he won it last year, but he has withdrawn.
Jim's buddy.
Don't get me started.
I don't know what's going on with Phil. Phil, open invite to come on the show and tell us what's going on in your head, man.
He's a piece of.
Oh, I would pay to watch that with Jim.
In fact,
all right, here are your odds.
Good enough to be dumb.
Here are your odds. John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, the Masters champion, are co-favorites. This is as of this morning at Caesars Sportsbook. They were 11-1. Rory McIlroy 12-1. Colin Morikawa, DJ at 14. Justin Thomas, Victor Hovland, Brooks Koepka at 16. And then you see the guys down there at 18 and 20. Nick, I know you do a lot of research on these things. It takes you a couple days to get through till you actually have your picks. But who are you looking at right now as at least on this board of favorites as someone you would put money on?
I already put money on Rory, JT, Justin Thomas, and Patrick Cantlay on this. I don't know. The hype train that Speed's on right now, I don't know if he can keep doing this. I love Rory here. Rory has never won a tournament where the score was over -10. So he's not one to win birdie fest. He's one to win difficult conditions, and this will be difficult conditions. I mean, they forecasting 35 to 45 mile an hour gusts all week. Ooh. So it's gonna be a mess. I could see -6, -7 winning this thing, not -26 like we just had.
Yeah, it's going to be nasty, and I've heard the greens are like Masters type greens where they're real difficult to read. But they're
difficult to read, and they're not as fast as the Masters greens, but they're all like lifted up. So keeping the ball, like when the ball hits the green, they don't know where it's going to go. Like, is it going to stay? Is it going to roll off 20, 30 feet? That's what it's going to be like.
At Augusta, like these guys go to Augusta every year. So you learn over the years, like, okay, this is the green on 12, it's all going to roll to Rays Creek, or on 12 it does this, on 13 it does this. They don't play Southern Hills every year. They'll get a practice round in, but it's not the same thing.
No, it's not. And Phil last year broke all the trends as far as winning this tournament. Like, I mean, you had, before Phil, 14 out of 15 winners have finished in the top 30 in a prior start. Like, so this tournament, I'm kind of looking at all the trends and trying to follow the trends, because Phil was the trend breaker last year. So I don't think a trend breaker is going to happen again.
Well, last year was one of those weird years too. It was a weird tournament in the fact of no one, I mean, of course I don't mean this literally, but no one wanted to win. No one was making shots on Sunday. It was kind of came down to they almost handed Phil the tournament. I mean, no one could come up with any kind of big shots.
Didn't he chip in from the bunker too?
Yeah.
And nobody really took it from him.
I mean, there were like some missed short putts, and I mean, it was one of those weird days where everything went right for him. And I'm not going to take anything away from the guy, except I wish he would stop playing and talking. But other than that, I mean, he had a great day and he deserved to win. But I mean, there really was it was a weird field. It was a weird tournament. And he kind of just did what he had to do. And I mean, you play the tournament 100 times, that would be the only time he would win.
Yeah. And this is one of them tournaments where if you're ahead, like it's not one of them come from behind, I'm going to catch you type of things. It's one of those, if you're ahead, like if you go to live bet, whoever's ahead Saturday and Sunday, I wouldn't take a guy that's like 4 or 5 shots back like you could have this weekend.
And by the way, that's a good transition, Nick, because we will tomorrow have a special live edition of Bayou Bets where I'm going to talk to Trey Wingo, the former SportsCenter anchor and senior trends officer for Caesar Sportsbook. And he's the king of trends. I mean, he likes to look this stuff up, and then sometimes Caesars will offer an odds boost that has to do with Trey Wingo. And this week, one of the odds boosts you can get is there will be a wire-to-wire winner at the PGA for 15-1, which is not a terrible bet. I mean, it's happened a couple times, and I think
I almost clicked it this morning when I seen it, but I didn't. But
I think like 5 of the last 7 years, the second round winner has gone on to win it. And a couple of those times it was the first round winner. And so it was a wire-to-wire situation.
Right. And like I said, I'm going to follow a lot of the trends this week with the way everything's panning out.
I don't want to take too much of Nick's thunder because he's going to be on Datitude on a special. We got a special episode tomorrow with Trey Wingo, and then Wednesday we have a special Datitude with Uncle Big Nick and Andy Lack. And I'll let Nick talk about Andy Lack a little bit, but we have all kind of come to know who Andy Lack is, and he is a fantastic analyst. He's played most of these courses. Nick was telling me he just played this course not too long ago, and he knows these golfers, and he's probably better suited towards DFS stuff, but he does definitely help me figure out on who I'm going to pick as far as my 6 or 7 guys that I'm going to pick for the weekend.
Well, there's nobody that has a better course breakdown than Andy. That's the
No.
thing. Like on his Monday course breakdown, it's the nerdiest thing you ever want to read, but I mean that in the best way possible. Like it's so helpful for him to lay out what the course is going to play like, how long it's going to play, course comps, stuff like that. It's just, I'm really excited he's going to be on.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have him on. Going to be anybody who enjoys the betting, and again, like you said, Zach, if maybe this is the first time you're going to bet, oftentimes majors are the first time that bettors get into betting golf. To me, and I know Nick feels the same way. To me, betting golf, it's like playing golf. It is the ultimate high of highs when you win something in betting golf, and is the most aggravating, annoying, why the hell do I do this kind of thing when you lose. And I mean, like yesterday, Zach, you and I were talking, and at one point I had 7 guys in the top 15. I bet 8 guys, 6 of them pre-tournament, 2 of them live going into the week. I had 7 guys in the top 15 early on Sunday, and none of them won. I didn't bet them correctly. I should do more top 10s. I don't like top 10s. I like to do outrights. I only had 1 top 10. I hit that with Justin Thomas. But still, I mean, to have all those golfers right there, and one of them being Jordan Spieth, you expect to be able to come out in the clutch. It is so frustrating, but at the same time, I think it is the most fun sport to bet. And when you win, you usually hit it fairly big. I mean, it's not like betting a basketball game or a football game, and you get a point
look at these.
spread.
These are the favorites.
I mean, exactly. Even if you bet John Rahm. I mean, John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler, the favorites, right? If you put $20 on Scotty Scheffler and he wins like this odds list says he's supposed to, you still get $220. I mean, that's not a bet, and you get to watch it for 4 days. So it's like 4 days worth of fun. And you pick, and with these odds, you can pick 3 or 4 favorites. And if one of them hit, you win. And you go and fill in, bet less on some of the long shots, and the long shot could come through. Like we saw yesterday, repeat champion, but I believe Lee was like 125 to 1.
Yes, he was.
Our luckiest, smartest, dumbest doctor friend we've ever known in our lives hit it yesterday. And so, it goes to show. But golf is fun to bet, and that's why I say people should listen to the show tomorrow, listen to what Trey Wingo has to say. And then Datitude is devoted completely to the PGA, Uncle Big Nick and Andy Lack. And we're gonna go into how to bet it, not necessarily who to bet. We will talk about who to bet and some people that we like. But one of the things that I've liked is I go, and these guys, and Uncle Big Nick has helped me, Andy Lack has certainly helped me. It's how to pick who you like.
And what you do is you get yourself a field of 4 guys, 6 guys, 8 guys, whatever it is. Bet some top 20s, bet some top 40s, bet some winners. I mean, and I've heard people say, "Oh, golf's boring. I can't watch it." Maybe they'll back 9 on Sunday at a major, but other than that, it puts me to sleep. Put some money on 3 or 4 guys and see how boring it is to you. It is a sweat like no other. I mean,
especially when you got
a
guy in the top 5 on Sunday, you'll be watching. I promise you'll be watching.
Jim wants to talk about how bad Spieth was yesterday, but the 2 tournaments before that, they had 3 guys tie for second in each tournament. I had all 3 of the guys that were tied for second.
I was the same way. Yeah, and I mean, and so you look at it and you go, all you can do is give yourself a chance, right?
My April was awful as far as golf betting goes.
Mine
but
too.
February and March was great. I had 6 winners in 2 months. Like, people don't get 6 winners in a year. So, I mean, it's the thing with golf, like you all saying, you could bet 8 guys. You could be wrong 7 times and still make a lot of money on the 8th time.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You can't do that with football. You know how many
Look,
if you lose 7 football games, 7 basketball games, you're down no matter what you win on the 8th one.
Ed JJ Spawn 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, a $4 bet wins me $600 and whatever dollars. I mean,
still living off
a $4 bet.
Yeah, that's
well. You know what I'm living off of with JJ Spawn, so
living on the edge.
Yeah. Let's look at some of the longer odds here. These are not really the long shots, just the next page worth of odds after those who are 20 to 1 or less.
Sanjay's out. I don't know if y'all know that.
Who is that?
Sanjay M. He's out.
Oh, Sung Jae's out. Okay, I'll put him at the bottom. He's withdrawn. This was from
No,
this morning. So these
he went play in South Korea last week.
he
I
got
don't know
COVID,
why.
didn't he?
Yeah, and he got COVID. Now he's stuck there. They won't let him leave because of
Wow.
the protocols, so he can't play.
Whoops. Yeah. Hideki Matsuyama had a good round.
I like
good
him
weekend.
this week.
He's at 30-1. Who
Neiman,
else up is
baby.
obviously Tiger is there at the bottom at 50-1. Tiger's price is always going to be inflated, but let's
Neiman
speak
and
on Tiger's chances here, Nick.
I like Neiman here. I had Neiman last week. He forgot how to play golf Sunday. I mean, he played like I played on Sunday. It was
+2.
terrible.
You never shot +2 in your life.
No, I know that. But +2 at this course is like shooting +30 like I do.
+2 on that course is a Devin Booker in game 7.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's like,
I mean, Matthew Fitzpatrick I kind of like because of the weather factor, but I'm always on him. But Fitzpatrick's a par machine. Like, if you need him to go out,
he's a good top 20 bet.
20 on, yeah, he's going to make every par out there.
Yeah,
so
he's a good top.
I kind of like him. Somebody you don't have up here. Oh, Fleetwood is up here. Yeah, I like Fleetwood too.
Yeah, I mean, these guys obviously you can put less money on them and still get a pretty big payday.
Repeat after me. Do not bet on Tiger Woods. Do not bet on Tiger Woods. If you bet anything on Tiger Woods, bet on him to miss the cut.
Or just to make the cut. I would say, like if it's even money, you can bet on him to make the cut. The guy doesn't walk 4 rounds of golf at a time anymore. We saw it at the Masters. He just the stamina, it becomes a thing. Mentally,
and here's the difference. And Zach, here's the difference between the Masters and this. The Masters, he knows in his sleep. He could roll out of bed and he knows exactly where the ball's going to go in Masters. He knows the course inside and out. This course, he doesn't know nearly as well. He's not going to play as well here as he played at the Masters. It's going to be tougher on him, and I think he's going to miss the cut, even if he is Tiger Woods. I know Nick probably disagrees with me.
The reason why I disagree is because you're going to have the past champions. I mean, the cut's going to be.
That's true.
I mean, you're going to have 20 guys that are automatically not making the cut.
Automatically 18 over. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, you're going to have stuff like that. I know you mentioned,
true.
Not to get off Tiger, but I know you mentioned Hatton earlier. I don't like Hatton here at all because he hated the Masters. Hated the way it was set up. And this is kind of a lot like it, with around the green play is going to be crucial. And I call him the angry gnome because he's always angry out there.
He is. He is, but he seems
this is one of the courses to where, if you're going to get double bogeys, you're going to get triple bogeys. It's going to happen. You got to know. You got to kind of find the guys that can bounce back from that. That's not going to. The double bogey on 8 is not going to affect him on hole 10. You know what I mean? And the Hatton's not one of them type of guys. It's just that's why I like Cantlay here. Cantlay, I mean, you look at him walking around on the course, you don't know whether he's 10 under or 10 over. He has no expression whatsoever. He's boring as hell to watch, but he wins.
I do want to ask you about one name, Nick, on this first page. And I know one of the trends that's been thrown around is that a lot of guys going into the PGA have to be playing well. Like, I think Phil was the only one out of the last 15 who missed the cut his previous tournament, and a lot of them are top 10s, top 5s. That trend a little bit is – I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it makes sense, but how about a guy like Xander Schauffele, who was awful on Thursday last week, right? Then he makes the cut on the number with a big run on the back 9 on Friday, and then plays great on the weekend and gets himself all the way into the top 5. But he was one shot away from missing the cut, and he wouldn't fit the trend. I don't know what you do with a guy like that right now. Probably stay away.
You don't touch him.
Yeah, I mean, Xander would be a live bet for me. I'm not going to bet him before the tournament. There's always a great player, which Xander's a great player, that barely makes the cut on the weekend on a Thursday or Friday, and then the weekend he shoots unbelievable and sneaks a top 10. Always happens every tournament. And like Rory did it at the Masters. It's just there's always that one guy that does that kind of stuff. And I don't know
Zach,
if I trust him here.
Zach, you know how we talked about a wire-to-wire winner, and Nick talks about whoever's winning at the second round, don't fade him. Xander's the opposite. If he's winning after the second round, that's the one time where I'm certainly going to pick somebody else because that dude does not know how to close. I mean, the reason why he did so great, he had nothing to lose. There was no pressure on him whatsoever on Saturday or Sunday. Xander, to me, might be the best pound-for-pound golfer, and he doesn't weigh a lot. He's a little dude. But he might be the best golfer on the planet. If you took away any pressure and you're just playing for funsies, I'll take Xander Schauffele. When it comes down to Sunday and he's coming down that stretch and he sees a leaderboard and he's either at or near, especially in a major, I ain't touching that dude.
See, I know he's got that reputation. He's got 5 wins.
For a reason.
He won a tour championship. He won Olympic gold, which I know it's not the same thing, but it's
cares.
I guarantee you the people playing cared.
Rory Sabatini won bronze in the Olympics.
Not like they're going to care on Sunday.
No, but I mean, he did win a tour championship as a rookie or second year. I mean, it's 2017. I'm not sure I understand the total
Jim, you
reputation.
want the truth about Xander? Ask Andy Lack, because Xander's one of Andy's favorite players, and he's going to give you the God's honest truth on him.
Well, I'm definitely going to ask him. Thanks for
I'm listening.
Hitting me. Well, we listen. I mean, that's going to be one of the first things I ask.
A nice tease.
All right. Nick, before we let you go, anything else about this week? I know you're going to be on Datitude on Wednesday, so we don't want to spoil everything. But anything else you're thinking about this week, a player or a trend or anything?
Well, one of the trends with this week is a lot not like the Masters, like we were talking. The Masters, you want somebody who's played, like I said when we did the Masters, played there 2 or 3 times before. You don't want to bet somebody that this is their second year, right, at the Masters. And the PGA, it's the best for newcomers. There's so many people that's won this, and that's their first major or even their first win. So, I mean, 8 of the last 10 winners hadn't teed it up at the PGA more than 5 times. So don't be afraid to bet these guys that just can't get over the hump in majors, because this is the one where they can get over the hump.
And if you're betting multiple,
I really like a Fitz and a Fleetwood here, you know.
And Nick, don't you think that you have to at least put a little something on Scotty?
I feel like I missed the Scotty train. Like, I feel like I'm chasing.
Yeah, but you got to put.
I hit him at the Waste Management. That was his first
me too.
win of the 4. So I really got the best odds. Right. So I really got the best odds on him. But now I just feel like I'm chasing my tail with him, you know?
I don't see how you leave him off of a card in a major now. I mean, even 11-1. If he were like 8-1, I'd say, yeah, maybe it's not worth it. But I'm not saying go bet the house mortgage note on him, but I can't leave him off of a card. And look,
I feel like a top 10, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
he was like this week was like he was just like playing around.
Money.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he was just kind of playing around this weekend. He didn't even take this weekend seriously. And still, was like 19 under.
He was.
I mean, he was just playing around.
Well, he was like, "Oh, today I'm gonna shoot a 64.
Exactly.
Maybe tomorrow I'll shoot a 63." You know,
can't leave him off. We're going to talk about him Wednesday.
Yeah, it was a total tune-up for him.
And we'll see. I mean, obviously, if he wins this weekend, we all know what's going to happen. All of a sudden, you get Grand Slam talk of out the wazoo. We're going to start talking about.
Another thing with this,
he's not going to win the.
No one over 30 has won the PGA in a while, besides
except for Mickelson.
Yeah,
he's my age.
Right. So I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Jared
Every trend was broken with Phil last year.
Yeah. We shall see. PGA Championship starts on Thursday, and we've got you covered before then. Jim's going to write some stuff for bet.nola.com.
Yep.
I've got Trey Wingo tomorrow talking some trends. I'm also going to ask him about the Saints and Drew Brees, by the way. So if you want to find out his thoughts on that situation,
please no.
Maybe he'll ramp up the hype train a little bit, and then on Wednesday, Datitude with Uncle Big Nick and Jim and Andy Lack. So you'll definitely want to hit that. And I think top 10s, top 20s, all that sort of stuff comes up on Caesars usually on Tuesdays. So those odds will be up, and we'll talk about it all week. Nick, thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
We appreciate Uncle Big Nick joining us. And you're watching us here on Bayou Bets, brought to you by Tulane Doctors and Caesars Sportsbook. And just a couple more things I want to hit before we go, Jim. But I obviously lots of PGA talk. I'm excited. I love these courses again, where I think Andy Lack mentioned this on his podcast over the weekend. Like the whole thing, I followed the tournament this weekend because I had some money on the line. I would check the live scores every hour. So I didn't watch a lot of it because when these guys are so good that they can birdie every other hole, it's just kind of like, okay.
But it was different though. That doesn't happen as much anymore because they've kind of like, I think the last few years they kind of got tired of these ridiculous scores, and they've started to pro-proof some of these courses. They didn't in this one per se. I think they just let them do what they want. But you don't see a lot of 20-unders winning the last couple of years. I mean, it happens.
And I guess as a change of pace, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But I do think there's something to the excitement of a tournament where if somebody's got a 3-shot lead, yesterday, if there's a 3-shot lead with 3 holes to go, it's basically over. Yeah. Unless somebody hits a couple of eagles. I mean, that was really the only way they were going to do this. If you got a 3-shot lead at a tournament like at a course like Southern Hills, you could see that swing in one hole. One guy birdies, the other guy doubles, boom, we're tied again. I mean, you don't see that unless the course is difficult, and I think you'll see that this weekend. You'll see 2- and 3-shot swings on every hole.
I think it's going to be an interesting tournament. I don't know if I like the 11-1 boost. It's just so hard to win wire to wire, especially in a major. 15-1. Yeah. I mean, it's okay if you could put a few bucks on it. I mean, it's fine, but
it really is hard.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, you're talking about 100, like Nick said, 156 golf, and I know you could throw 40 or 50 of them out of the window before you even start. They don't count, but. So, I mean, let's say there are 50 golfers with a legitimate chance to win this thing. And I think that's probably fair. You going to tell me one of them's going to go wire to wire? I don't know that it's worth 15-1. But I think it would have to be somebody shoots like a 65 Thursday.
Yeah, that's really what it gives you is if somebody comes out and shoots 64, 65, it's a par 70. So you're like 5 under, 6 under,
right,
and you're leading the tournament. You now have that guy in your betting arsenal where you're, of course he's got to be leading out. He can't fall behind and then come back and win, I suppose. So it's not completely the same thing, but I don't know. I do kind of like it, especially given the trend, but I will talk more about that tomorrow. 4:00 live interview, Trey Wingo right here on bet.nola.com and social media channels. And then of course, Wednesday, about 11 a.m. noon, maybe you'll have data 2 posted on Wednesday.
Yeah, it should be up by noon for sure. Patrick is telling us that Tulane has fired its baseball coach, Travis Jewett, who's been there for at least 4 or 5 years.
I think it's 6 years. Okay, yeah. And he's done okay, but just hasn't made the tournament, which is an expectation. So, a couple other things to go ahead, Jim.
I was going to say too, baseball, and for those of you either new to the area or younger than the age of 30-ish, Tulane's a big deal. I mean, baseball's a big deal at Tulane. It is basically what football is in most places. I mean, Tulane has always been, since I was probably a teenager, Tulane has always been one of those teams that you expected to be in the tournament and make a run towards the College World Series. And so, yeah, I mean, you don't make the tournament there, you're going to get fired.
Yeah, I agree. And to wrap up the show, we do want to talk a little bit, not necessarily about college baseball, but the college softball NCAA field was revealed yesterday, and you can get odds on this at Caesars. I don't know if they'll have individual games, but here are your championship odds. And just like in college baseball, where Tennessee, I think, is plus 150, you've got a very clear favorite, and then everybody else has, these odds that you're seeing like in golf tournaments. So do you like a UCLA or an Alabama? Oklahoma, by the way, lost the Big 12 championship game yesterday to Oklahoma State, who's sitting there at 12-1.
Unlike men's college sports, in women's sports, the favorites win way more often than not. So unlike baseball, I love Oklahoma here. I actually think you're getting value. It's kind of like South Carolina in women's basketball, because usually in women's sports, the favorites and the better teams are that much better than everybody else. So if you want to take a flyer on Florida or or a UCLA or something like that, sure, go ahead. But I there's a reason why Oklahoma's plus 160. Plus 160 to me in women's sports is like minus 140 in football. I just think that they're that much better than everyone else. I wouldn't bet on anyone else than that.
Producer Pat notes that James Madison made it all the way to the finals last year, which you are seeing. I do think you're seeing parity increase. I mean, I know what you're saying, Jim, and you've been right many years, but I do think you're seeing parity increase. And although I will say this about Oklahoma, it's one of those situations where if you're the best team, losing to Oklahoma State in the Big 12 tournament title game, sometimes that's the best thing that happens to you. It wakes you up, refocuses you. Okay, we got away with one. Let's not lose again. And they go on and rip off, 7 straight wins or whatever it's going to take to win the championship. By the way, down there under the notables, LSU and Arizona State and Missouri all 35-1. LSU and Arizona State, they're in the same regional, by the way. LSU is at the Tempe regional. First time in a long time LSU hasn't hosted. So
don't waste your money.
Interesting that they got the same odds as the top seed. I think Arizona State's the number 8 national seed. But yeah, I mean, look, if you haven't been consistent enough to even host a regional, I don't see why anybody would think you're going to. Maybe you make Oklahoma City. Maybe you make the Women's College World Series. You're not going to win it all.
No.
So one more thing I wanted to get to. We've been talking up the Breakers as the best team in the USFL. Did not look like that yesterday or Saturday. They did not look like that. They look pretty bad.
They are so disappointing. I still think they're the best team in the USFL. That's a sad thing. Whether they'll be able to turn it on. Now, I know they didn't have their offensive coordinator yesterday, who was, I think it was at his daughter's graduation or something to do with family, couldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't – this team is frustrating. Kyle Sloter is frustrating. It's kind of like watching the Saints sometimes. I mean –
Sign Drew.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is really – I think the defense is really good. But in Sloter, he keeps being thrown out there and promoted as the best quarterback in the USFL, but he keeps turning it over. I mean, he's now got 5 interceptions in 2 games. I mean, your team wears white and blue, okay? When the other team – it's one thing if the other team was wearing blue and you're having a little trouble and you don't get it. Okay. But the 2 teams in a row, they wear red. Stop throwing it to the team in red. You'll be all right. And now they're playing a team wearing Broncos colors this week. That's terrible. If he throws interceptions to the Maulers, they need to figure something out. But they'll win this week. They'll get to 4-2. But
by the way, they've got to make only the top 2 in the division make the playoffs. They're now 3-2 along with Tampa Bay. They're going to have to beat Tampa Bay in the rematch probably to make the playoffs. So there's that going on too.
Yeah, and you got to wonder when they get there. I mean, are you going to have confidence in this kid, Sloter? I mean, he's obviously got athletic ability and has NFL abilities. Okay, but when you make some of the decisions that he makes, you just, oh my goodness, shake your head like Jameis in 2019. That's what he looks like.
Yeah. All right, so that is our show for today. Bayou Bets here on Monday, May the 16th, brought to you by the Tulane Doctors and Caesars Sportsbook. Sign up for the Caesars Sportsbook at NOLA.com/Caesars if you haven't already, and get in on the action. PGA Championship this week, a chance to make some money. You don't even have to necessarily. I've made money in weeks where I didn't pick the winner because you hit a couple of top 20s and a top 40 or something, and you're able to swing a profit. And what that does is it pays for your lotto tickets, so to speak, to try to hit the winner. And if you hit one of those winners every 5, 6, 7 tournaments, and you can make money in the meantime, it can be a profitable betting venture, and it's a lot of fun. So go to NOLA.com/Caesars. First bet insured new users up to $1,100. Use promo code NOLACZR, or just use that URL, NOLA.com/Caesars, and get it done. NBA playoffs restart tomorrow. Stanley Cup playoffs restart tomorrow. We might have to start talking a little Stanley Cup, but we talked about Game 7s, Jim. The NBA had 2 bad Game 7s.
Rangers
the NHL had some unbelievable 2 overtime Game 7s last night. I don't care if you're a hockey fan or not. Like, that's heart-stopping stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it. But the people in the bar where I play poker there were actually some Rangers fans in there wearing Rangers jerseys. going insane.
Hockey fans on the North Shore.
There are that. No, it wasn't on the North Shore. It was in Metairie. But still.
Okay. Even better. All right. Anything else, Jim? No Datitude on Wednesday. Big week.
Yeah, I send my condolences to all the parents out there who are this is the last week of school in most places in Louisiana, and
we got 2 days next week. I'm going to take those 2 days next week.
We don't. I mean, it's a sad time around for parents, unless you're a teacher. The hardworking teachers of the state of Louisiana, you're about to go on your 11-week hiatus. So we salute you, but for the rest of the parents out there,
I love my kids.
I love my kids too.
I also love those 6 hours a day when they're in school. Like,
it is.
Both things are true.
Yeah, so we'll figure out how to do it. Maybe we'll have one of them on the show. I don't know, because they're going to be in here, some running around, yelling, screaming.
Let's do it, man. Somebody's got to make good picks around here.
This is the question. Lucy Derry could probably do better than Jim Derry.
Spencer does it pretty regularly. He did best bets today, so check out bet.NOLA.com for his best bets. And until then, we'll say goodbye. Again, 4 o'clock tomorrow, Trey Wingo live here on these same channels. We'll talk PGA Championship, sneak in a little NBA playoffs and NFL schedule release talk. By the way, the Week 2 NFL lines came out at Caesars today. I wrote up a little post, so check out bet.NOLA.com for that. Guess the lines. Saints hosting the Bucks Week 2. What do you think the line is?
Tampa Bay is a 2.5-point favorite.
Tampa Bay is a 4-point favorite.
4 points. Wow.
4 points.
Okay, well,
Saints are 4-point favorites in Week 1 and 4-point dogs in Week 2.
Golden rule. Take Atlanta in Week 1 and those 3.5 points, and then take the Saints in Week 2 and take the 4 points. Golden rule. Always bet a division dog at home.
I might wait on those, actually, because the Falcons line's already gone from 3 all the way up to 4, and the Bucks line may move the same way. So maybe wait if that's the way you want to go. Bayou Bets brought to you by Tulane Doctors and Caesar Sportsbook. For Jim Derry and our producer, Patrick McGee, I'm Zach Ewing. We'll see you tomorrow at 4, and then Datitude on Wednesday. Have a good Monday, everybody.